typically for people living in the city, the Department on Aging may be able to provide transportation. There may be taxi vouchers that an individual could use. There are many options that, and families may have a hard time locating those resources on their own. So usually it would be good to refer somebody to Department on Aging or some other institution that deals with seniors and who may be able to provide some guidance about alternates. A very big problem arises in rural communities where the only mode of transportation are the wheels, and people might be quite isolated if they can no longer drive, and that's a very difficult issue to deal with.
What we've developed here is a services manual for alternatives alternatives to transportation rather than alternative transportation. So, well, the kinds of services ranging from dental services to beauticians to drugstores to shopping and so on that could be brought into the home to substitute for transportation. Now, that kind of a manual will differ for every different community, but I think it's a really important one for families to have. Well, we could develop the prototype of that and the software to put that together any place. And I think a group that could be very effective in doing this would be the local chapters of the Alzheimer's Society. When you start talking about alternatives, then I think our society has a long ways to go. Most of the alternatives we have are not really appropriate for people who have a cognitive impairment and often some mobility problems as well. So the buses jerk and lurch and are just really not very effective alternatives for people in our climate here. To wait out for a bus for 15 or 20 minutes is not a very effective way to go. But even in southern climates where it's very hot, it's equally bad. Taxi cabs, I think, are not well thought of in the sense that people are pretty frugal often, and it costs money. And trying to educate in terms of, well, it's pretty expensive to own a private automobile too, in terms of insurance and upkeep and so on. And there are a lot of taxi cab rides that could be taken on that. The next issue is, so what's a taxi cab ride mean? Does it mean a stranger's always picking you up? Does it mean that they expect you to be in the car, and if you're not, they're angry with you if you don't get there quickly, and they expect you to get out so they can get the next fare? Or can we have some taxi cabs companies that really buy in and say we'll have door-to-door, maybe even through-the-door service?